Today in crypto, Bitcoin has smashed another new high for 2020 today, and it could be on the verge of a mega bullish breakout. I also have a story for you about another bank making a Bitcoin play, but it's not just any old bank. This happens to be the second biggest bank in the frickin' world. I also have a story about Ethereum. I had a bit of a crisis yesterday, leaving people a bit shaken, going, what the heck's going on here? So I'm going to break that situation down for you as well. My name is Lark, and this is where you subscribe for all of the hottest and all of the latest happening out here in the wild island of crypto. So, the latest issue of the Wealth Mastery Investor Report is out now, so if you are a member, then make sure to check your inbox. This week, I cover low-cap crypto gem altcoins to be keeping an eye on as we do see altcoins starting to trend upwards again. I also talk about how to get exposure to international stock markets by using your domestic accounts. So some kind of workarounds there for you if you do want to get some international stocks in your portfolio. Forrest breaks down some common myths about smart contracts. Jesse has a deep dive fundamental analysis report on the super low cap DeFi player Definer. The team from Engine, who are the OG of crypto NFTs, joins us to talk about NFTs and how they're approaching the NFT space these days, and gaming, of course. DeFi Dad has a tutorial on how to use a decentralized exchange aggregator, and Rect Capital has some just fantastic analysis for you on Bitcoin, Ethereum, the Dogecoin, and Litecoin. All of that and much, much more every single week straight to your inbox for less than $10. Let me and my team save your time and help keep you ahead of the curve in this fast moving market. There's a link down below where you can learn more or become a member today. Now let's talk about Bitcoin. Today was a very exciting day for Bitcoin. We did hit a new high for 2020 at, basically $16,000. Depending on what exchange you look at, it was, $16,000.41 or $15,999.50. A few pennies in either direction, but basically 16 grand. It's a pretty exciting day. Now, this is a continuation of what has been a just mega bullish week for Bitcoin, hitting that 2020 high. Definitely a big deal. Bitcoin right now on the 4-hour charts is forming an ascending triangle. Now, this is a bullish chart pattern. This actually has a 73% chance of being successful. So the odds are in favor here of Bitcoin breaking higher. The line of resistance at the top of the triangle, that's the $16,000 mark that we just got rejected at. Now, to confirm this breakout from the ascending triangle, we want to see a candle closing above the top blue line. Now, that would be the time to open up a long for traders. Until then, we don't have confirmation and may get rejected. Going long now, it is risky because until that breakout is confirmed, the pattern is not necessarily confirmed. Now, the implied target from this would be $17,700 for Bitcoin, which would be pretty gosh darn cool if it did happen. That will bring us just tantalizingly close to reaching our shorter term goal of $20,000. In fact, from the line of resistance at $16,000, we only need a 25% gain to hit $20,000 and a new all-time high for Bitcoin. All of that being said, $16,000 is a serious line of resistance for Bitcoin, and the RSI on the daily has now been overbought for 23 days running, making it one of the longest streaks of an overbought RSI since 2017. That will not continue forever. There will be a corrective phase. Even if we do get the breakout from the ascending triangle, then a correction will still be due at some point, so you got to keep that in mind. And look, taking a look over at the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index, we are currently sitting on 87, which is showing strong greed. And the old saying, be fearful when others are greedy and greedy when others are fearful. Well, apply that as you will. In fact, we've actually been over 70 on the Fear and Greed Index for more than a week now, showing that there's really just an incredible amount of exuberance in the market, which actually represents a short-term danger. Now, that brings me to what happens if we fail with our ascending triangle and we actually break down instead of breaking up. Well, it is, after all, a 1 in 4 chance. We do need to consider that possibility. Perhaps that high greed index and the high RSI and the falling volume, it's all going to come together to bring this triangle downwards for the breakout. Now, if that does happen, then the target will be around $14,200. And now if this does take place, that would actually add fuel to the fire of the consolidation theory I was proposing to you the other day, which is basically that Bitcoin has had a really good run over the last few weeks, and it may just now be time to consolidate for a little bit here between $14,000 and $16,000. Do that for a few weeks before pushing higher at the end of the year. The Bitcoin honey badger, it may have no chill, it may just blast out from here with that ascending triangle, but that's something for you to keep in mind as the pessimistic case in the short term. But we will have the answer to our riddle about the ascending triangle tomorrow, since it is reaching its terminal point in about the next 24 hours, so do keep an eye on that. And regardless of what happens short term, we're still firmly in a bull market. Bitcoin's still going to the moon. Just check out this chart here. It is the Bitcoin short-term holder MVRV, which has been holding its positive ratio for the past 6 months. In fact, it has actually just come down, bounced off the neutral line yet another time, indicating really just that bull market strength. So holding this support level has historically been seen as an indicator that the bull market is still happening. It's still continuing. We're still in that phase of the market, right? So we haven't entered bear territory by any means. We're still looking very, very bullish on the markets these days, obviously. Okay, now on to the first big story for today, and it is out of China, where the China Construction Bank, which is not just the second biggest bank in China, but is also actually the second biggest freaking bank in the world, has just launched what it calls the first publicly listed debt security on a blockchain. Now, they say that these digital bonds can actually be bought using Bitcoin or US dollars. Now, if the pilot program for their bonds on the blockchain thing is successful, then there are plans actually for the other big four Chinese banks, like the Bank of China, to also issue bonds using the blockchain. Now, it is not clear at this time which blockchain will be used for actually issuing out the bonds, but just holy cow, man, this is crazy. This is just another insanely big story of just a mega bank looking at crypto, looking at blockchain, looking at Bitcoin. And look, let's not kid ourselves either. Most of these blockchain-based bonds, they will be sold for dollars. But the mere fact that they are accepting Bitcoin for these bonds is a big deal in of itself. Now, the exchange of bonds for Bitcoin will take place on a little-known exchange called Fusang, which is Asia's first fully licensed stock exchange focused on the digital asset market. Now, it is unclear if the bank actually plans on keeping any of the Bitcoin that is used to buy the bonds, or if it will just swap them out for dollars. But regardless of how they play it, it's a big story for adoption, especially considering this is a Chinese state-owned bank that is officially accepting Bitcoin in exchange for their bonds. I don't know who the heck wants to buy those bonds in exchange for Bitcoin. It's a crazy trade if you ask me, but still, it's a big deal. And it's like the 10th big adoption story about banking we've had for Bitcoin over the last month. So you just have to remember, moon soon, keep stacking those sats, keep on chilling. And the final story for today is about Ethereum, which briefly split today. Now, the event was caused by a dormant bug, which devs had partially fixed. The issue has now been completely fixed, so you don't need to worry. You don't need to do anything. You just sit back and enjoy the story. You don't have to worry. Your Ethereum's fine. Now, the reason that the drama happened was that devs introduced the change to fix the issues, but because older nodes had not actually updated their software to the newer version, basically we saw this resulting kind of hour or so of drama where we did have a temporary chain split. So this happened because the bug actually brought down Ethereum's main infrastructure provider, Infura, leaving many services actually incapable of interacting with Ethereum. Now, Infura was actually running a version of Ethereum which was released back in December 2019, so those guys really needed to freaking update the software. Now, apps that rely on Infura like Compound Finance and MetaMask, they were actually down for about an hour, so, not cool, not the end of the world, but definitely not cool. Many apps actually did, though, have fail-safe connections set up, and as a result, experienced no issues, so, props to those apps without a doubt. Also, it needs to be highlighted that no user funds were lost during this process, so it's something to keep in mind there definitely as well. The worst thing that happened was that miners missed out on about an hour or so of mining, and maybe some people couldn't execute trades on MetaMask during that time. Now, over in Bitcoin land, Bitcoin maximalists are just like crying tears of joy, calling for the death of Ethereum. Yes, yes. Sorry, Bitcoin maximalists, it's not over. It's not over. That kind of sentiment just, it's crazy. Because, it's not that Bitcoin's immune to these things. Bitcoin actually experienced a very, very similar bug about 7 years ago. And let's not forget the infamous inflation bug for Bitcoin that created about 184 billion Bitcoin for about an hour or two back in 2010. And look, it's not 2010. We're much farther along here. And an unannounced hard fork is not super awesome, but it actually sounds a lot more dramatic than it actually is. Essentially what it means is that for about an hour or so, some nodes were running a different code on a minority chain for Ethereum. However, the implications of such an event could be potentially dramatic, since double spends would in theory in this situation be possible, which is why exchanges actually moved quite quickly to disable withdrawals for about an hour or so while the situation was resolved and sorted out, and relative upgrades and all that stuff were made. I think this situation more than anything highlights the importance of diversifying infrastructure, removing those singular points of failure. So maybe it's a wake-up call for the Ethereum community to, diversify their infrastructure more, make sure everyone's, running the software updates when they need to happen. Because basically, you just can't have that situation where you have something like Infura, which just runs so much of the infrastructure, and then it goes down and takes a lot of the infrastructure with it. Look, I'm not going to lie, this was not a good day for Ethereum, but it also wasn't a super bad day for Ethereum. So it was what it was. It's all over now. We're moving on. So onwards and upwards. Anyway, your question for today. Do you think that Bitcoin is ready to break out? Are we going to see a big move soon upwards? Or is it time for some consolidation, a bit of a cool off period? Bitcoin's just got to chill, take a rest, and then we can go to the moon. Let me know what you think down below in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching today's video. Long live the blockchain, and peace out till next time.